It's finally time to start our very first seeds for our 2025 garden, and today I'm going to be starting my onion seeds. I thought I'd bring you along and show you how I start my onion seeds and talk a little bit about growing onions. Welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Kayla and this is 5 Canadian Acres, where I'm growing a garden in a short season cold climate up here in Canada. So we are approximately 12 weeks to our average last frost date. That is the date in the spring where our average last frost is. So that's kind of how I gauge when I'm going to be starting seeds. So when it comes to onions, you can actually start them in 3 different ways. There's seeds, there's sets, and then there's bulbs. Now onions are what's called a biennial plant. So the first year they're going to grow their bulb, and then if they are able to be overwintered, the next year they're going to grow, take all that kind of energy from the bulb, grow up a big stem with flowers. It'll go to flower and then go to seed. So I like to grow my onions from seed because that's a first year onion. So all it's concentrating on is putting as much energy as it can to growing a big bulb. When you go ahead and start, those little bulbous things you get in the spring from the big box stores and such. So those actually were grown a little bit and then pushed into dormancy. So technically they think they're a second year onion. Yes, you can grow them, you can get big onions, but you do risk them going to seed a little bit easier and or maybe not store for as long. When I learned that, I'm like, I'm just gonna grow them from seed. The other thing you can grow them is from sets. So that's when it's basically started up, someone's starting them right now, and then in a few months, they're gonna go ahead and sell them. They are harder to find, but you can find them some places at greenhouses and such if you wanna go that route. So this year, I'm gonna be starting 4 different kinds of onions. We're gonna start with just your regular old white sweet Spanish onion. Grew these last year, they're really good. Now, the reason that I start these so early is because onions have a long day to maturity. Like these ones here, 110 days to maturity. So up here in our short season where we only have, I think I have 110 days, like frost-free growing days, but it's still pushing it because you just never know. Also, that's just days to maturity. So, they're gonna grow a little bit longer than that. The longer we can get these growing, the bigger the bulbs, bigger onions I'm gonna have. The other nice thing with growing onions from seed is that you can multi-sow them. So that means you can put a whole bunch of seeds in one pot, which is what I do. And then they're just gonna grow. And as they grow, we'll trim them, take care of them. When we go to plant them in the garden, we're just gonna be able to separate them and plant them each individually, which is great. It saves a lot of space and a lot of that kind of stuff. So these are seeds from last year. I'm just gonna kind of sprinkle them fairly thickly because onion seeds don't last as long. Like some seeds, tomato seeds can last 10, 20, like hundreds of years even, whereas other seeds tend to deteriorate a little bit faster, such as onion seeds. They might only last 2, 3. That's not to say you could have 10-year-old onion seeds that don't grow. It's just that the germination rate will go down over the years as we go. I'm gonna make sure to label these this year because one of my biggest things is labeling that I struggle with every year. So these are the white sweet Spanish. I grew these ones last year and I still have some. They never got super huge. It was not a really good garden year last year, but I still have some stored inside. So it's nice to know that they'll kind of last a little bit. So what I'll do is I'm just gonna kind of push these all down into the soil here. And then I'm just gonna top up a little bit of soil on top. I've said it before, but I'll say it again to remind everybody, or if you don't know, that if you don't know how deep to plant your seed, the average rule is twice as deep as it is wide. So kind of like the smaller seeds on top, the bigger the seed, the farther down you're gonna wanna plant it. Next, we're gonna grow this ruby red onion. I grew a few of these last year and I think we've probably eaten them all. Supposedly red onions don't store as long as other onions, but I have not experienced that. I've never grown enough red onions to last that long. We really just use them a lot for the fresh eating. Whereas we'll use like the white ones or the yellow ones more for, canning or cooking. And then we have the Utah yellow sweet Spanish. So basically just, a yellow onion. I like to grow lots of different varieties for different things. We've got the white, the red, and the yellow now. So the other thing to know about growing onions and picking your varieties is there is such thing as short day, neutral day, or long day onions. And that just has to do with basically the amount of sunlight that they need in order to kind of trigger them to start bulbing up, because they're gonna grow green at first and then you need that trigger of sunlight to get them to start bulbing up. So up here in Canada, we're growing the long day onions because in the summer we have long days. There is an actual kind of certain hour amount, and I'll throw that up on the screen because I don't remember. Again, if it doesn't say so on the package you have, just a quick Google search will let you know whether it's a long day, short day, or neutral day onion. And that was kind of something interesting to know because a lot of times, up here in the north, we kind of feel that or get the short end of the stick a lot of times with our short seasons or that type of thing. But we do have some advantages up here because they can't grow some of these onions down south, or even, some of the brassicas or some of our cool weather crops they can struggle with a lot more down there. Whereas up here, we can grow broccoli all throughout the summer. A lot of times it's not going to bolt, again, depending on exactly how cold of a climate you have. But it's always just nice to know that there are advantages to living up here in the cold. I've always said I like it because we don't have snakes that are going to kill you or, big bugs. And here in Alberta, we don't have too many natural disasters to worry about. So these are the things we just tell ourselves, I guess, when we're like in the midst of winter. It's February 15th today, so we're kind of getting towards the end of it. It's going to be positive temperatures next week, but there's still lots of snow and we still have a bit of winter to get through. I am very grateful to have this little greenhouse because right now it's minus 20 degrees Celsius outside. And I'm here in a t-shirt. It's plus 5 in here, but plus 5 when it's minus 20 outside is t-shirt weather. So next up, I'm growing this exhibition onion. It's a Spanish onion. I believe it's yellow, but this is kind of like, last year I grew the Kelsey, which were a big kind of competition onion, which is this one too. Again, if you want to grow stuff for competition for the biggest sizes, you're going to start them earlier and really take care of them. Or if you want to just start them when you're supposed to start them, you're going to kind of get the average size. So I don't think I'm going to be getting any super, record-breaking onions from this, but I just like to see how big of an onion can I grow? How big can you get these things? It's kind of neat. So we'll try that. This actually came with my seed order, my seed haul for this year. I haven't done that yet, but I needed to start them, so I pulled it out of there. Another thing to show you is I just opened this package. It says 75 seeds, and I'm not sure if you're going to be able to tell. That is 75 seeds. It does not look like it, but I bet you if I counted them, it is. So with seeds, they can be very deceiving. When you get your package and you're like, well, that's not that much. When you actually count them, it tends to be. So I'm thinking when I first open it, I'm just going to plant all of these. But do I need 75? I don't know. We're starting off again this season with planting too many things. It's kind of, what I do. I think what a lot of people do. And then I'm like, okay, we only have that many left. I'm just going to plant them all. So let's just do it. And as always, I pre-water this soil and then I have my spray bottle and I'm just going to keep spraying it so it stays damp but not too wet until everything sprouts, and then I'll just water it accordingly because we don't want to drown the little guys, but we also don't want them to dry out. And because we are just 12 weeks to our average last frost date, it's going to be go time for starting seeds. I have a ton of herb seeds that I need to start right away. And then it's just going to be countdown to all of the things like tomatoes and peppers. And if you have any questions about growing onions up here, let me know. And as always, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.